two playoff teams. The picks in the bottom of your screen, Lyric, and we've got Ppgod's Bard.
Yep, so, let's just quickly jump into what these comps do is we're going to probably get in the game very soon. When I look at BLG's comp, very tried and true, right? You can definitely see 1-3-1 elements there with both the Jace and the Twisted Fate. It's definitely a bit of a pseudo pick comp, but the cool part of it is up against what V5 have drafted. I definitely think it can also play out in the 5v5, right? You're going to have things like the bullet time coming out from Misfortune, the collateral damage, the accelerated shock blast, which is then interesting because when we look at V5's comp, it would want to be a pick comp, right? We have Bard, we have Zoe, we have Jhin, these compositions that want to get tempo and then look for picks in the enemy jungle. But it's going to be a bit harder when BLG do have one, winning lanes, and two, things like global pressure coming out from the likes of Zeka. So it's
Continue.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I was going to say, it's going to depend on things like Bard finding some cheeky ultimates or some, sleepy trouble bubbles coming over terrain that catch the enemy by surprise for V5 to really utilize their composition the way it should be utilized.
I was going to say, I know that, there's been a lot of focus coming into this series where we were going to talk about bot, especially since, aiming and Mark versus Weiwei and Ppgod. Bot is the biggest style of both of these teams in the focus, but seeing Biubiu go up against his former team of 2020 summer, going up against Langx with a Jace-Gnar matchup that can be quite volatile, I think is one of the most exciting parts of this game.
And I love that you touch on this because Jace has been one of the things we've seen picked into Gnar consistently that is actually won out in the laning phase. Of course, Jace does have a range advantage. For most of the game, Gnar, of course, starting at 400 range, scales up to 500 at level 18. Jace was just a static 500 range, and you win all-in trades very early on. If Gnar does get to a point where he's looking to all-in you with the Mega, it's very easy for you to just kind of E him away when he does hop onto you. So the card should be in Biubiu's favor pretty much the whole game if he does play it out correctly.
And we can see him pushing up in that top lane, accruing a CS lead, but bottom side, that's where the camera's staying because the action here is immense. Weiwei and Ppgod are shoving their own wave in this bottom side, and remember, aiming started tier in this lane. Boots for Weiwei, so not offensive item choices, but a lane that now hits level 2 and can keep pushing forward. So, Lyric, also, while we're looking at bot, I want to go back into that storyline and mention why bot is so important for both these teams.
So we've seen this new BLG roster really play heavily around the advantages that aiming and Mark are able to accrue on their own and kind of transition that into Mark pressuring the map alongside Meteor. But this game around, V5 are the ones who are going to bot pressure, and BLG are going to have to kind of pivot to playing around Biubiu in the top side.
Well, they're already starting to do that with Zeka moving up. Level 3 Meteors here as well. You hit the nail on the head once again, sir, as Langxing's only level 2. This cute little dinosaur has his TP coming up with his friend, but Langxing flashed gold card from Zeka as Mole comes on in with the flash in hand. It's a fake one, but with Paddlestar, he chooses not to follow up, and BLG get first blood and are not punished for it.
Nice to see from BLG adding a new dynamic to their playstyle that we hadn't seen in the previous 2 series. Mole does come try to cover, but as you mentioned, Langxing was only level 2. Sadly, didn't have the rage bar stacked up enough to get that Mega and hopefully get that burst of HP to be able to survive. And now the question is going to be, what can BLG do with this? We don't expect to see too much early on. The fact that Gnar doesn't have a flash means you can potentially look for a repeat player on top, though.
You can. I mean, that flash timing is going to be linked with BLG. Note that BLG only used Zeka's flash in response, and then he came back to mid and teleport back in at that as well. He got First Blood, he got Corrupting Potion, Dark Seal.
Hysterics, there's an interesting tidbit that we did want to hit on earlier that...
Tell me.
So Jhin, 7 wins, 11 losses in LPL. Not too hot of win rate. But for these teams, both V5 and BLG have only won when they have picked Jhin. These 2 teams are making up 5 of Jin's 7 wins.
That's a good stat. And Weiwei's on Jhin now, so that tells you something else. So Jhin has to win, apparently. Otherwise, we're breaking records. And at the very least, winning lane for now.
And to obviously go into the reasons why, right? It's when we talked about, hey, both of these teams have really shown they're able to translate an advantage into a winning game is when they've had Prio and bot. Jhin is a very safe champion. Doesn't really have too many counter matchups. Misfortune has typically been seen as pretty much the only one, but also getting the Bard, the range matchup in support, allows him to have this pushing lane and is going to hopefully enable Weiwei to play around this bottom side more, allow Bard to get off onto the map, and then start looking for picks, especially once he does have that ultimate.
And set up again, and it's something that you talked about at the start of the game, but Bard linking with Zoe, with Jhin, there's just so many ways to capture one opponent or find those picks. Feels really, really nice when you have a massive range that can just burst the target down. And that's why we love Bard in 2020 summer. Remember, we had a lot of these Jhin lanes. We had Zoe priority off the roof. And these 3 picks paired together like, you know, gin and tonic.
Yeah, and you made me realize a very interesting thing, that V5 are the team that have the long range like CC and pick tools, but BLG are the team that have the longer range damage, right? We talked about the accelerated shock blast, the bullet time coming out for Misfortune, and that's why it feels like V5's comp is going to be the one that's going to have to be played with more finesse, more catching people in transition, or, you know, playing from Fog of War where you have Weiwei waiting in the wings, you throw out the Bard ultimate and you try to catch BLG out before they're able to set up for their own play.
Well, they're setting up for one on the top side. Spotted out by a ward. I don't think Meteor cares here. He's moving up while Dragon's being done, and this is obviously a very good response play. Dragon now gives over the information after being taken, and Zeka's ready to roam up as well. He's in Fog of War. Mole's going to walk over a ward, though, Lyric. As Destiny gets used, he goes past the Zoe, heads up to topside. Meganar about to come up, but again, the timing from BLG hits him before he evolves. 0-2 and 0, a 20 CS disadvantage, and BLG hitting top hard.
BLG just doing a great job of playing around that winning matchup. Nothing Mole could do in that scenario. He even didn't have mana, so I don't know why you're even trying to rotate at all. You're not going to be able to influence that matchup, and typically you'd see a team in this instance just start to trade. You realize, hey, we are not going to salvage our topside matchup. Langx is gone. This Gnar is done. Again, it's kind of a byproduct of how that first gank went, and now it should be about trying to get as much as you can on the bottom side of the map.
What can you get? There's pretty much only the wave to be caught here from Y4. And everything for BLG just feels like it's at a pretty good point. I will note that Mole, of course, staying in lane has that advantage. A Redemption picked up. Thankfully, it's not like old Redemption to push the wave, but it's still a very nice pick from Mole. Well, RNG pick, I should say. So he's up about 15 CS in this lane with Lost Chapters. So there's a bit of damage now coming down to the mid laner of V5.
Another interesting thing to note with the fact that we do have Bard back in the game is that, remember that Bard just completely nullifies a Rift Herald, so whether V5 if V5 get Rift Herald, that's great. If V5 don't get Rift Herald, as long as Ppgod is there to respond in kind, BLG shouldn't really be able to get anything with that objective.
That's a really good point, actually. It's just because we haven't seen Bard in so long, kind of escapes that thought process. Rift Herald will be up in 10 seconds as well on that note. Scuttle is secured by BLG. Of course, they have had topside priority. For the first time, Langxing's able to push out, but he's still down CS. He walks down. He's going to back a little bit here and probably head into, what, Thornmail? Or, sorry, a Bramble Vest early as an optimization.
He could. Definitely going to go for that plated seal caps as we see, but maybe he does opt into an early Bramble Vest with how much punishment he is receiving from top and jungle. We've seen most Gnars in this matchup go for the Stride Breaker, which makes sense, giving you the extra movement speed is quite nice when having to try to like kite out, or even when you need to all in on the Jace.
Good call. Ppgod's not 6. Would it matter really? No, because Alistar blocks it. They're just trying to get some damage down as Meteor now paying attention to the bottom lane.
I mean, he's given so much help to topside that you can pretty much just leave Biubiu on an island, and he's going to win this matchup so hard outright.
As Mark goes in, ball time set up with a headbutt pulverized. Magical Journey taking a short distance out, and Y4 burns a flash and heal in the end. And that's going to be a worthy trade.
Good gank coming out from BLG. I'm glad they realized, like, hey, we don't need to put any more resources in the top. Let's just play around our bot lane. But really good Magical Journey from Ppgod. Again, like you said, very short distance, put right behind them, so they're able to get out right away. Now we're going to see if Weiwei is able to take this Rift Herald for free. We do see that Mark is making his way down to mid, and Destiny is available if BLG want to try and get some information on this one.
Tempered Fate is up and available as well, though. That's the difference. And you can see Aiming going back to the bottom side because he doesn't have his bullet time available. Wants to soak up some of the experience of the wave getting pushed in. So they're a bit too late to the party. They get the Herald. Magical Journey out is a nice touch. And V5 with their objective.
And I definitely feel good on the side of BLG. Not... Oh my God.
I think it's solo kill. I think Langx flashing away. I think it's too late. He gets bopped away only just as Destiny. Where's it going to be used? Ping's getting slammed down to the side. The fog of war, but I don't think it worked out. Into Ragnarok. Zeka has to flash away. Mole sandwiching them down. The Tempered Fate locks onto 2. Might not be Meteor, but that means it gives them time to reposition. Biubiu as well is going to die. It's 2 kills over to V5. Ppgod sets it up. And Weiwei getting hit hard. Meteor set up with another kill. The trade there, but beneficial for V5.
Still exactly 2 for 1. You're the team that's behind. BLG have all the pressure. You should not be picking up kills like that. A bit greedy coming out from BLG with Zeka wanting to look for that one when V5 already had numbers on that side of the map. Had to flash instantly, and you know, it is quite disappointing as we do go into the replay. Langx, I guess, just not expecting Biubiu to be there, wanting to pick up some of the honey fruit. Does get all in. Did look like he was going to go down, but luckily for him, Ppgod and Weiwei were here from the fact that they just did take the Rift Herald. This is a bit of a head scratcher. We can all understand why he went for it, but he didn't really need to kill Langx. Langx would already lose all the CS and pressure in topside. It allows for the Bard ultimate to come out. Mole has arrived. You pick up 2 kills. You give up Weiwei in the end, but as you pointed out, it's a win for V5.
Absolutely. Trade is great, and Mole getting a kill as well on his Zoe. Another person who has this iconic identity linked with the champion, and that's because of how Summers look. That's how, because Mole came into the league with his Zoe. I put him up there with people like, you know, maybe Rookie and Knight to a degree. Langx getting low again this time. It's a bait. Mole gets the kill, and Langx's like, I did it on purpose this time. You're a fool, and I'm getting top turret.
And it's so disappointing to see from Biubiu when all of your resources are down bot and you're still looking for this trade. You can tell that V5 aren't contesting you because you have complete vision control in the bottom side river, to where when I look at these comps, I honestly liked what BLG had put together a bit more in response to what V5 have, because when you're both kind of playing pick comps, but BLG have the tools to kind of be the superior pick comp, you would think, hey, V5 are going to be hard scrounged for options, but BLG so far giving V5 a lot of breathing room to get back into this game.
And a setup for a carry in the mid lane. Turret's going to go down first. Turret blood means that BLG not so far ahead in gold anymore. Meteor actually caught out here as well. The Bard damage alongside Y4 is huge. Mole almost extends with the Paddle Star, but just out of range in the end. And Meteor lucky to get out, while V5 continue to erupt the early game tempo that BLG started to set.
And look, I'm not a biased caster, but when you have Mole on Zoe, what can you expect? It's this man's best champion. If there's one way to bring V5 back into a game single-handedly, it's by picking Mole Zoe.
All right. Well, I guess you can't argue with facts, and at the very least, it's, you know, what I was talking about before. You link him to this champion because of how good of a performance he's had in the past. He's almost up towards that Luden's Echo. Actually picks it, Luden's Tempest, excuse me. Picks it up on the way back, and Mole now has his Mythic before pretty much everyone else bar aiming in this game. So very good plays coming out from V5. Sets them up with a carry mid laner. And look, we talk about Zoe snowballing in the LPL quite a lot and what effect it has.
True, and again, the nice thing is that we've seen that BLG are quite the aggressive team, and they're going to be constantly the team looking for picks throughout their last series. So it's going to give Mo a lot of room to just kind of like set up his like station and wherever BLG are fighting around, start playing with these Sleepy Trouble bubbles over walls and trying to connect for picks like we did see in that topside jungle fight.
We're going to get turret plating here as well. 13-30 on the scoreboard. Mole, you just need a little tickle on the turret. I think minions are going to get it. He's not going to be nearby, so that's a bit of a shame as the turret plating goes down. But at the very least, he was able to push it and weaken the structure just by a bit. Blue buff up for him as well. And we're at a state where now 13 minutes in after 6 kills, it's been a bit lull for a bit. But, you know, we are heading towards that next dragon with 1 apiece. And since it is an Infernal Soul, if you're talking about pick comps, Lyric, poke comps, you know, to a degree, both these teams are going to be fantastic with an Infernal Burst. Definitely
so, and for the side of V5, one thing we're going to have to see is how they can play around this Mega Gnar, because if they do want a 5v5 into BLG, it is completely possible. They have Bard against the mobile carries. You can lock them down, but you need to be able to bring in the Mega Gnar to be that front line and hopefully continue the lockdown and give Weiwei, Mole, and Y4 the space to deal damage, because if not, BLG are just going to be able to send 5-man in mid and throw out those long-range abilities that we talked about.
Because remember that, you know, this is a composition that can nail down certain targets and then make others disengage with things like you mentioned with the Bard ultimate, with the Sleepy Trouble Bubble as well to help the pick. It feels like V5 have a lot more tools, but you also mentioned at the start of the game, it can be a bit harder to execute. There can be some destabilizing synergy. I forgot, what was the word? What is the opposite of synergy?
Dude, you...
Anti-synergy. Got it. Thank you. Your thinking helped me. No. Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, anti-synergy, I don't think is one word, so it's not the opposite word of synergy.
It is the opposite of... There's no way. There's no way. Close to finding Meteor. Collateral damage over the wall. He gets out. V5 now. Hey, is there another Herald? Is Shelly back? Is her sister there? Almost. About 20 seconds till that comes up, and that's going to time nicely to the Infernal that comes up in a minute if V5 can just pick it off, which doesn't look to be contested.
And we're seeing the dynamic that we expected where BLG are trying to play out this 1-3-1, having pressure through sides, which they definitely will all game long, and V5 are realizing, hey, we need to take our pressure through mid and then roam our core into the enemy jungle, support Weiwei kind of with whatever objective he's trying to play around. Currently, that is the Herald. I expect to see some recalls come out after this, and we're going to start seeing some vision placed down bot. Currently, V5 do have some deep wards into BLG's jungle, but vice versa, actually. BLG also have some deep wards in V5, so no one really having that river control stabilized just yet.
Yeah, it looks like they are just like splitting the map for now, right? We see the Herald go down, and Weiwei backs into his own jungle instead of going straight towards the bottom lane. He wants his red buff. But V5 happy to try and look for the pick. But Ppgod moving in without the rest of his team. That was a head scratcher. Now he dies, and Mole trying to get a kill onto Mark. He's close, though. Let's be quite honest. That's a lot of Zoe damage, but Ppgod may have given away the chance of Dragon.
Ppgod just, you know, making a mistake, giving BLG the Dragon. V5 kind of posturing like they want to take this one, but with Langx losing Mega and recalling, I hope V5 just back up.
Mark almost dead. Mole knows that he can kill him with one more shot. Biubiu's there off on the wing. Paddlestar doesn't connect, but
Langx
coming in for the TP onto Biubiu. Look at where the rest of BLG are. They've got the flanking position. They pull back in the end, hoping to settle this Dragon dispute as Weiwei's walking in. Paddlestar burst. It's an auto from Meteor after the smites come out, and Weiwei was close to stealing that one away.
To be honest, I don't even know how V5 kept themselves in that one, able to contest a Dragon. Obviously, I should know because it was off of the back of Mole's play, but just missteps coming out from both supports.
And now that everything's kind of back to a normal state, Herald's going to be put down. You notice that Meteor kind of backed out of that one and actually went back to base, aiming, dodging away with the help of the minion wave from Mole's Paddlestar, and the Herald won't get the mid lane turret. So BLG pretty happy with how this one turned out, as the Paddlestar on top of the Sleepy Trouble Bubble doesn't actually go through. I think the camp spawn and stop Mole from getting that is, oh my god, the bullet time doesn't get to complete as Ppgod now wants to stop Biubiu, misses there with the Cosmic Binding. Curtain Call opens up now with the Sleepy Trouble Ball. Biubiu gets blocked by Mark. BLG with the numbers disadvantage, all because Mole looking slick on Zoe.
There's certain champions you just can't give to a player, and like you said, you just always associate with them. Mole, Zoe, such a treat to watch. The big differentiator with Zoe for me is there's two things. One, how you play around terrain, which Mole has been doing absolutely amazing. And two, how you incorporate your passive from your W, so, you know, after your abilities, getting the empowered auto attacks. Mole has been doing both absolutely beautifully. And again, he's been a big reason why V5 are still in this game. Just continuously hitting those skill shots as we see here. Just hit a Sleepy Trouble Bubble, goes in. Aiming, unfortunately, starts his ultimate at the same time to try to clear out the wave as Mole goes in, and he gets popped.
I don't think Aiming was expecting that Mole would have enough mana, and he knew he wouldn't portal jump, but had the Rocket Belt and just went forward. So, Rocket Belt or the Gale Force? Maybe
Gale Force.
Gale Force.
Had the Gale Force.
And the Rocket Belt is a different color, I believe. So, yeah. That was just a big surprise, I think, to me and to him. As Aiming goes down, as Mole gets another kill, definitely going to be the thriving part of this composition. And now with a Zoe that's snowballed, you got to think about, well, that pick potential is ever so high. With this mid lane turret getting forced as well, these are great conditions for Mole to thrive under.
Also making his way towards that Horizon Focus, already having the Hextech Alternator in there as well. You can expect the Phoenix Codex maybe working his way towards a Zhonya's Hourglass at the same time, with the fact that you're up against triple AD. So Mole on a good path towards his item power spikes. And again, we pretty much have the same amount of mythics coming out from both sides. All four of the primary carries having those already. We do see Meteor this time around on his Graves going for the Gale Force, which makes sense when, hey, your job is pretty much burst out this Zoe or Jhin and get out of there. So I do like the item choice.
Yeah, a lot of gaps closing in this team as well, right? We got Gale Force for aiming too. We've also got the Proto Belt for the Twisted Fate, which has been pretty standard. Zeka's almost towards the Lich Bane second as well, so he's in a pretty good position to at least match or hit some of these sides and add pressure. Aiming. Really died at the curtain call. Second bullet lands, the third as well. Tempered Fate doesn't sync up though. A little bit too early. I think Ppgod expected aiming to flash, but
yeah,
he did not.
It definitely seems like he was trying to predict either a Flash or a Gale Force that would, you know, have to come out maybe an instant earlier, but it didn't. We also do see him pick up the Shirelia's Battle Song, I think, if I saw correctly in Ppgod's inventory, so going to be a nice speed up for the likes of him, Weiwei, and Langx as well to try to force those picks.
I believe you're right. So, yeah, a lot more movement speed on this team as well as Mole over the wall once again. Destiny's been used. They've actually cornered him out as he comes out of the portal jump. He's been knocked up and he dies. The shutdown goes over to the Graves. He's going to feel pretty good with his 2 items already achieved, and that'll be enough for BLG to get pressure back in this game, to continue that gold lead, and maybe contest the next Dragon.
It's been so interesting to see the way V5 are forcing the map, where they're just grouping up, opening Jhin Ultimate immediately to force out BLG and then try to poke down mid-turret. We do see BLG respond in kind this time around. Nice job of Meteor to catch out Mole. And right now we have the battle of the carries, right? It's Meteor for BLG up against Mole for V5.
And with Mole going down, the gold he gave over sets up a bounty for Meteor. So we'll see if that one can be reciprocated and taken right back.
Ooh.
Because, yeah.
Collector out as well. Collector already is there.
That's right. And you know what? He had that before the fight. So he hasn't actually spent the gold that he's achieved off getting the huge shutdown on Mole, which is going to be daring to see what the next item comes through. Is Tempered Fate from Ppgod tries to get the pick. Biubiu just walks away. We'll have a look at the pick again before Dragon starts.
And we do see Zeka with a nice Destiny to actually be the one to set this up. Zanya's in. Chain that with the Misfortune Ultimate and an easy cleanup for Meteor.
How easy will the Dragon be though? V5 here first. The Dragon now spawns. BLG from the bottom side up as Langx. Is he going to overextend? The answer is just a resounding yes. In the wave smokescreen there, he flashes. I'm not sure why. To try and delay time while they get Dragon, fair enough, but are V5 going to survive? Magical Journey out. Biubiu there with the zoning. And V5 walk away.
And one thing we need to hit on, right, is that it's actually a 4K gold lead for the side of BLG. This kind of like slowly crept up and overtaken us. We see massive CS advantage in the top side, especially, and in the jungle role, 70 CS for Meteor. We've seen how these team fights are going. And it goes back to, oh, Mark's here.
It's a flank. And you know what? Ppgod gets sent back into the Ragnarok here for the Olaf on Curtain Call right down the middle. BLG are going to take their first kill of the fight. And Biubiu stands back trying to get the turret, which is very worth it in the end. Mole forward with a fake flash. Wants a Sleepy Troll Bubble. Lands it onto this top laner. Teleport as well as Mole picks up another kill. Langx teleports in and just walks away.
Still, I feel like BLG are firmly in control of this game, and it's going to keep going back to the discussion we had about compositions, where it feels like BLG have the better pick comp. They have the pick comp that can control more lanes. They have the pick comp that can spread out what V5 do. They actually do better standing in front of V5's comp in the straight up 5v5 than V5 do, unless Langx already has Mega set up and they hit a perfect Tempered Fate from Ppgod. So just having a lot more tools available to them. The nice thing about V5's comp is after the initial pick, they just have so much long-range CC, they can typically find some kills on the back end, as we saw there with Mole. But it doesn't matter if BLG are going to be the team that get more every time.
Here we go again, though. Flash was used in the last engage, and I'm sure Langx regrets it. He's dead. If he survives, I'll give everyone in chat $5 as he goes down. And, you know, Biubiu picks up his first kill of the game, but Langx 0-4. He's been caught out multiple times in this side lane.
This doesn't matter, but would they have been Australian dollars?
Yeah, they would. So $3 American. Our currency's pretty trash, I apologize. But, you know, we have good wages, and we don't have people rely on tipping. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's move forward because that's an argument I want to have one day. I'm willing to.
I'm on your side with that one. But let's get back to the game. This is not an argument for the people.
Place. Yeah, true. Because BLG are pushing down an inner turret, and the gold just keeps going up. You pulled out the gold lead before. BLG making the smarter decision, finding the picks. Meteor now has a mortal reminder. There's a 3-item Graves who shreds the double Gore Drinker comp.
And, like, if we were to look at the other side, right, because BLG have all the options, we've already set all of them up for you, but when we talk about what V5 can do, it feels like you're just relying on hitting a Sleepy Trouble Ball, bursting some out, or Ppgod finally hitting a Tempered Fate, which, if we're being honest, he doesn't look too practiced on his famous Bard pick, has been missing a lot of these, and we're just not left with V5 doing much. Langx at this point in the game isn't even a champion, not really much by his own merit, but just kind of the way the drafts in the early game panned out.
Hey, they can always do things like this, right? Mark re-engaged because he knows the fight can come through. Destiny off the side, gold card. They want to kill this Zoe, but Mole goes golden, flashes away from the bullet time while Ppgod is the first to die. The shock blast is magnificent as Mole runs for his life. They get a trouble bubble, they get a deadly flourish, but V5 is still on the hills, running away. Zeka with his movement speed wants to find Mole. He's gone into the portal jump. Oh no, has he exposed himself for too long as Meteor cues against the wall? Aiming walks through though, and that'll be enough. Mole's dead, and so with it is V5's hope for winning anything else. Y4 in the wave, shock blasted, Biubiu and Zeka send out a couple of cards and a hammer. And that'll be Baron, most likely BLG winning off of that.
Yeah, BLG 7k gold lead with this one. They're going to pick up Baron. They're going to get those empowered recalls. They should be even to translate this pressure from Baron into another dragon. Looks like Langx wants to try to contest, but I don't know what he can do.
You know, if Langx steals the Baron after getting caught out multiple times, that would be the greatest dichotomy of this top laner for game one. But
also, I have a question. Did Amy flash Gale Force over the wall?
I think he did. He ran into melee range, yeah. I was like, hang on.
I think he ulted or like dropped his Make It Rain over the Baron wall, then flash Gale Force, which wouldn't be uncharacteristic for aiming. I guess we will get a full replay here. Initially, it's V5 trying to catch out Mark, but we've seen Langx's going to consistently lose out the push. He doesn't have TP to get here quick enough. So BLG going to quickly have the numbers advantage. They do pick off Ppgod to start off this fight. V5 forced to continue to run away. And this is what I want to see, okay? Aiming, walking into Baron, he does. He does. He's going to do it. Flash Gale Force. If you haven't watched BLG series so far, this is how aggressively aiming likes to play, and you just love to see it.
That's so great. Like, doesn't care that he dies. He knows the rest of his team will win out. And right now, because of BLG's lead, it's not Meteor versus Mole anymore. It's Biubiu, Meteor. It's aiming with 3 items versus Mole. It's 1 versus 9 potentially. Not that V5 don't have other elements to add, but Mole finding a pick. That's how V5 lyric feel like they're going to win. It's over the wall. Mark's here once again. Mole set himself up for disaster with the portal jump. Tempered Fate doesn't connect. The Destiny there. They're in a choke. Gold card at the ready. Collateral damage lines true. And V5 now, they say, we're coming for you, but I don't think BLG care. As they take the dragon, V5 are unaware.
I mean, to be fair, right? V5 just don't have options at this point in the game. They're 9k gold behind. Everyone on BLG has an item advantage. Everyone on BLG, for the most part, has Baron. And they're just going to be able to, again, play through sides. They do better in the straight-up 5v5. They have more items. The V5 just don't have the options in their toolkit to be able to deal with BLG. Which hurts, Hysterics. Me saying that hurts, but it's true.
It's the truth. That's right. That's what matters. That's what shows you're an unbiased caster. Is Zeka in a side lane with Baron buff. There's a gold card at the ready. Ppgod walking in while Meteor is such a threat. The man from the Mafia. If you annoy him, you know what's happening. You're going to end up in a body bag as against the wall. Guess who's going down first? Ppgod, first to die from the Mafia. The second one, oh, Meteor's just running in melee range, collateral damage. He gets a double kill. But we know this is over, chat. We know in 28 minutes' time that BLG have absolutely spanked the life out of V5. Their defense is trying, but V5 know this inhibitor is going to go down too.
And Meteor, this is why he has so many loyal fans that will talk about this guy's high highs in 2019, because in any game, this man can pop off, and he's doing it here today in V5's own arena.
That's right. We're in Shenzhen. This is V5's second game, I think, second series in their own arena. Of course, they played their first one in Hongqiao, but they're getting beaten. They're getting bullied. No one loves a bully. And with a 12k gold lead, we're just waiting for BLG to dot the I's, cross the T's, and send it home.
Just look at this, Hysterics. He goes top, finds a few kills, weaves through mid, takes some farm, goes into the enemy jungle, takes some camps, comes bot, and gets some more farm. This man is efficient with his time.
He is. Okay. A V5 going to find something here. Tepid Fate misses. Mole wants to go in. What a kite to the side. Hits Trouble Bubble anyway. But hey, they want to kill Meteor. I don't think it's that easy. He just kites back. Another double. V5 are in trouble. Look at where Mark is. Hello. And good night to V5 as we say that's all she wrote. Langx with his first ultimate of the game, and it will also be his last.
Great play overall coming out from BLG, obviously dominating the first few minutes, and that advantage pretty much steered them through the rest of the game as they are going to take down Victory 5.
The top caliber team, right? BLG, what we wanted to see was a team that could really take control, take by the reins, and this is what they've done. Game one, all them, all the time. And Mole tried his hardest, but Meteor tried even harder than hard. He was the best. He was 11-0-3 to end that one.